All right, hello again. This is Ben Hitchcock Cross talking to you today. We have the position description of the Hearing and Mediations Bureau Director. Pretty exciting. Um, that's what we do around here. I hope we've got the audio fixed. I do appreciate all the comments. The one big thing that I want to share with you is this. Some attorneys have a model of doing one video whenever their schedule allows. And you have to understand, as practicing attorneys, um, these things can be difficult. I also can inform you that, because of this channel, among other things, that so much more of my life has become, let's say, more complicated and difficult because of the, for anything else, negative attention. Okay. I want you to understand that I have been going full speed since like November, and this is sort of my first day of somewhat relaxing. I would say it's probably totally untrue, but often feels that way, don't you find? Um, so that being the case, I just want you to understand. I really appreciate your comments. The model that we have here, though, is try to do something every day with fairly low um, level of input from us. I totally respect your time and I thank you for listening. But we have to understand here that there is a cost benefit analysis, and that's my wine for today. All right. Position description. It's no coincidence, by the way, that the Stoller complaint, that the Department of Justice answered the Stoller complaint on Friday, and I believe Teresa Falderon got all the complaints filed by the against the ALJs, and I think she sent them that in some long time ago, and I got all of the emails using the word recusal. Um, that I made back in May of 2014. So I assume it's going to be one of those weeks that we get a bunch of stuff after they've told the Department of Justice what they have. But hey, I could be wrong. I'm just guessing on based on the available information. Now, what is a position description? It's really important to keep this, the context really matters to understand what we're reading. This is a document here that explains to the worker what their job, what they are to do and what they are not to do. And that's really important in a large organization so that you don't have people stepping on other people's toes. And so that when they're hired or applying for a position, they know what that position that they are applying, what is the job duties, and we know if they're competent or not. Um, so this is, I think, fairly interesting. Position summary. And sorry, we're going to look for one thing that we're going to be on the lookout for is um, because I think it's different if we're talking about a custodian position summary as opposed to an attorney. Because let's keep in mind, if there's something outside of the rules of, I'm just going to say ethics, because those are the rules that attorneys go under, or the laws, which are also the rules that the attorneys work under, then there's a problem. And what trumps, as we say, the position description or the laws? You tell me. All right, here we go. All right, under the general supervision of the Equal Rights Division Administrator. Now, remember, that was Ramona Natera. She's no longer there. We'll get that position description out in due time. This position is responsible for providing legal counsel and advice to Equal Rights Division Management. Well, that's super important right off the bat. Okay, so this is an attorney. There is an attorney. It sounds to me like there is an attorney-client privilege going on there, but it's between Equal Rights Division Management. So that's important. It's not between ALJs. Um, in addition to planning, program development, program evaluation, and direction of the multiple statewide programs of the Hearings and Mediation Bureau. That's just like management right there. It's the thing that's throwing me off is the multiple statewide programs of, I would see, maybe underseen by, but multiple statewide programs. I mean, if they're saying conducting hearings is a program, okay. And if they're saying conducting mediations is a program, like, okay. And that's more than one, so we got multiple, but that's not normally what that would mean to me. This position is also responsible for the direction, supervision of equal rights division law judges. Okay, so that right there, bam, that's your supervisor. The position requires the ability to travel frequently between the Madison and Milwaukee offices, as well as other statewide locations. Well, not if you're exclusively remote. Additional responsibilities. Well, I'm not going to tease too many people about that right now, just for a couple reasons, but mostly because I don't think it's this is clearly pre-COVID. Additional responsibilities include serving as a liaison with outside groups, organization, and agencies, okay, talking to them, and inform the public about the Hearings and Mediation Bureau programs in Wisconsin, and conduct mediations if needed. Okay, so that's how she can still be an administrative law judge. That's somebody who conducts mediations but not hears cases. Uh, Now I understand. This position requires an active license to practice law in the state of Wisconsin. Okay. And this is not a diss by any stretch of the imagination, okay? But because I want to start with this sentence, and it might sound, what do you say, deficit based there. um, we're hiring a new attorney out of law school, or possibly more, couldn't say, in a couple of months. Now, that person, the moment they get their license, is going to have an active license to practice law in the state of Wisconsin. Somebody who goes to Harvard and has been practicing before the Supreme Court in the state of Wisconsin uh, has an active license to practice law in the state of Wisconsin. Okay, so I guess what I'm trying to say is you would kind of think, and I guess it's not a requirement, but they would need to be able to advise the management about legal counsel advice to management. I presume that means about the hearing law, the equal rights employment law in the state of Wisconsin. Okay, so I'm just guessing from that, although I don't know, that you're going to have to know some employment law here. But let's see. Oh, I love percentages. 40% time, goals and worker activity, manage bureau operations, including legal staff. And you got to love how bureaucracies treat like even higher level managers as workers. Because unless you're the governor, you're a worker. A1, review, develop, and update short and long range plans, goals, and objectives to ensure efficient and accurate implementation of the laws. Okay. Review and evaluate and appropriately confirm and revise key performance, productivity, and quality measures and standards to ensure effective and efficient utilization of division resources. And to my mind, this is something that they're actually quite good at, which is giving you statistical information. It's just that the real question is that statistical information effective to ensure efficient utilization of division resources? That's kind of the question here. So, ensure bureau and bureau staff accountability for advancing, DEI goals. Wow, I did not expect to see that coming. Whoa. I'm just wondering, to all my people out there that have been terminated or otherwise disciplined in state service uh, for disagreeing with DEI goals, if that's where that comes from. Holy cowsowitz. I don't like that at all. It's not so much the DEI part. It's that, what is that supposed, I mean, that's gonna, and what I don't like about that is that obviously means, has meant different things to different people, and some people have thought that that means terminate people who say things that we, who exercise their free speech rights. That's what I don't like about it. It's not clear enough. Staff accountability, and it's probably meant to be that way, but I don't like it. Prepare fiscal notes and bill analyses on bills that affect the Bureau. Okay. Monitor legislation that impacts laws enforced by the Bureau and keep administrator and other staff informed regarding law changes. Okay, that's probably the advice part. Develop and present testimony at legislative hearings. Review and approve or deny open records requests in consultation with department legal counsel. So I'm guessing now that's why Matt White might be, but see, that doesn't make sense why he would be, as a bureau director for the investigations, that would make sense that Matt White would be involved in those open records request responses with Jennifer Wackerhauser. Participate as a member of the division's leadership team in the development, coordination, and evaluation of division-wide goals, programs, and responsibilities to ensure productivity and efficiency of Bureau programs. Now, let's think about this for a second. The number one thing that comes to my mind here is there's probably a public records request in there, and that the division leadership team, many school districts, by the way, have this thing called district leadership team. Sometimes they call it the cabinet. Um, but the key thing here is that that'll be a separate group in teams, and they'll have meetings and teams chats and teams logs, and that may be something to be asking for. Draft administrative rules and conduct public hearings on the rules. Well, that's pretty important. 25%. Oversee the operations of the Bureau, including direct supervision of administrative law judges. Now, you remember, you may not remember. If you remember, I have said several times that um, being shocked at ALJ Shock's behavior, now that's ALJ word salad to some, um, behavior, and reading some decisions that were like just shocking to me, and then to see them overturned, and then the same person, and it's really, it was this, this is Burton or Brown, gosh, I one, next year I'll get them straight. Case goes like this: ALJ throws the case out, Lurk sends it back, tells the ALJ to do something else, ALJ throws it back out again, same thing. Lurk, probably 4 or 5 years later, sends it back and tells you don't give it to that same ALJ. So they give it to another ALJ who throws it out again on the findings of the first ALJ in deference to her. That was shocked in Delau, by the way. So then on this is the fourth time through that the Lurk is telling them, what the heck, guys, is my recollection. Now, in my mind, somebody ought to be disciplined for something like that. Or certainly there ought to be, if not consequences, there ought to be an investigation and a review. And just for example, it might want to come up in their personnel file or their yearly review or whatever. You might find at least, if the government's working, I'm expecting there to be such a reference. There is no reference. And I think we asked them for the public for their entire case file, and we got like their opening employment welcome to the club in 1982. Just guessing. Okay. Well, that's a lot of what started us all on this voyage here. So um, I'm going to assume there's going to be some robust talk about why, and sort of explanation to me about why I've cannot find any evidence that the state of Wisconsin's Equal Rights Division have ever disciplined an ALJ for anything. Okay, that's going to be the question here. Direct administrative law judge in the planning and implementation of Bureau goals, policies, and programs to ensure productive and efficient use of staff. Okay. Now, the other thing we're going to be looking for here is, does any of this say involve yourself in active hearing? Train and supervise administrative law judges. Okay. Provide coaching and mentoring to administrative law judges on a regular basis. Okay. I think here we know now who, in theory, I don't think, I think we don't have that. Any I think we have alternative facts that the hiring of administrative law judges is not done by this person, but that might explain some things. Hire, promote, discipline, and evaluate administrative law judges to maintain an efficient and productive staff. Now, this is problematic, and we're going to look at that. Advise administrative law judges on the correct application of the laws. Now, we've seen that happen in real time, where the Maria Selsor is telling people, writing essentially their drafts for them. We've heard Larissa Benitez Morgan say, when you're training, you go to your supervisor to tell you the right laws and stuff like that. I never heard that. So we got a big problem with this one. And I wouldn't be surprised if this was before a judge, frankly, because it needs to say when. It doesn't say when. It, as written, that it tells Maria Selsor that she can interfere in active cases and do exactly what she's been doing, which is advise administrative law judges on the correct application of the laws. And I mean, you can go so far as to say that means find in favor of who they should find in favor of. That is dangerous. That needs to be removed almost immediately, and the person who put that in there we need to know why. Manage case processing through mediation and hearings to ensure that's why they're always pushing mediation. Productivity, timeliness, and customer service expectations are met, including assigning cases for mediation and conducting mediations if needed. Represent the Bureau in the investigation and resolution of division grievances to ensure proper grievance steps are taken. Now, you're going to have to give me a second because I need to look up what the heck division grievances are. Maybe we'll find out. Who knows? Yeah, so that was kind of strange. I'm not finding too much on division grievances to ensure proper grievance steps are taken. Oh, I'm guessing that's if a worker files a WERC grievance. That's what I'm guessing. Prepare a bureau training plan, evaluate training opportunities, and monitor staff training and to maintain and increase efficiency of all staff. All right, now this is interesting. 20%. Provide legal counsel and advice to the Equal Rights Division administrator and management staff. Okay, so I'm assuming this is secretary office and above. It could be higher than that. We'll find out. But this is 20% of her job. Okay, almost as much time as she's spending supervising the ALJs. She's supposed to be on top of the law. That's what I'm getting here. But let's be clear on who she's giving advice to. Advise the division as to the effect of current and proposed state and federal laws. Analyze and summarize pertinent court decisions. Provide advice to division managers upon request. Well, does that mean bureau director and above? bureau managers is not clear enough to me. Um, 10% serve as liaison with other bureaus and divisions, as well as outside groups in the general public to coordinate efforts and promote the Equal Rights Division programs. Work with other division management staff on a regular basis to identify production needs and priorities to meet division goals. That doesn't surprise me. Coordinate efforts with federal and local agencies to eliminate duplicate effort to promote uniform treatment of parties to complainants. Prepare scheduled annual, biannual, and ad hoc reports as required of the division by statute, agreement, or understanding, or as otherwise requested by the division administrator. Okay. Maintain regular contact with national, state, local, and tribal human rights agencies to offer assistance and exchange information and ideas for planning and promotion. That may be why there's so many of these like initiatives that they do in their big glossy handouts is like doesn't make any sense to what this has to do with the rest of the mission. Maintain contact with labor and employer groups via speaking engagements and educational seminars in order to promote understanding of the laws administered by the division and to advise them of related services available and to assist them in complying with the laws. All right. I mean, well, that's if that's 10% of what she's doing, that's 4 hours in a week. That's pretty good. Perform other duties as requested by the division administrator. All right. Knowledge, skills, and abilities. Knowledge of agency's missions, goals, and plans. Knowledge of legislative, administrative, and legal system. Knowledge of administrative rules and rules of evidence. Knowledge of state and federal government agencies, organizational structure, and interagency relationships. Knowledge of state and federal statutes and regulations, especially related to civil rights and other equal opportunity laws. Knowledge of legal information, sources, and sites, such as Fastcase, Lexis, Nexus, etc. Oh, knowledge of open meetings and public records laws. Knowledge of annual and biannual civil rights reports, the Department of Secretary, Legislator, and the Governor's Office. Skilled in researching and using data sources and preparing reports and dashboards. Skilled in applying fact-finding methods and investigative processes. Skilled in forward planning and strategic thinking. Skilled in conducting administrative hearings. Skilled in mediation and/or alternative dispute resolution techniques. Skilled in conducting legal research through the use of a personal computer. Skilled in oral and written communication. Ability to advance a positive work environment. Ability to obtain commitment on potential conflict issues. All right. Ability to establish and maintain effective working relationships with department management, political officials, and business partners. I'm going to assume that business partners doesn't literally mean employers. I'm going to assume that that is probably HR or something along those lines, but oof, doesn't sound good. All right, well, that's could have been a better note, but there we are. The position description of the Hearings and Mediations Bureau Director, Attorney Management. Thanks for sticking with us. You know that we will keep you informed on our terms.